Hello students, I welcome you all for this lecture on fusion welding process. So in this particular lecture series, we will be discussing about the various types of welding process that can be employed to join two metals together. So let's start with a brief introduction about the welding process. So welding, as we discussed, is a process of joining two metals together. So that can be done by the application of heat. So based on how these two metals are joined, either by melting those two metals together or by fusing them together. So based on this, it can be classified into either fusion welding process where the two workpieces are fused together or solid state welding process. So example for solid state welding process would be brazing, soldering, etc. But our main focus on today's lectures will be on fusion welding process. Particularly, we'll be discussing about the gas welding, which we'll be discussing in a moment, then arc welding, and then advanced arc welding concepts. So first, we will get into the gas welding process. So gas welding, as the name indicates, is the application of some gases to generate the heat. So one minute. So what are the things required for welding? First thing is heat. So as you know, we have to melt the two parts together, two workpieces together. The first thing needed is heat. So here heat will be provided with the help of a gas. So gas will be used to provide the heat. So what type of heat a gas is actually used is it is a mixture of fuel gas and oxygen. As you can see here, it's a mixture of fuel gas and oxygen. So fuel gas is actually called as acetylene. Here the fuel gas used is acetylene, which is similar to the LPG which we are using in our household. So other than this, what are the different types of things required? We'll see. So the first thing is the fuel cylinder, next is the oxygen cylinder. So these two together form the heat. Yeah. And the next one is the welding torch, so which is actually called as the tool. So in each welding process, we'll need these set of equipments actually. First thing is heat, and next one is tool. Uh, so as you can see here, so this is your source of heat, and this is your tool. Actually, this is your tool, welding torch. So welding torch, what it does is that it will focus the heat from these two gases will be combined in the welding torch, and it will be provided in the form of a fire through the nozzle. So this two cylinders, actually the fuel cylinder is actually red in color. So this actually the red cylinder indicates the fuel cylinder and the black cylinder indicates the oxygen cylinder. So these two combinedly together provide the heat necessary for the welding. And these are your two workpieces, 1 and 2. So these two are joined together with the help of this heating process. So it will be melted. These two metals will be melted. So the melting point of metals, as we already discussed, we know. For example, in gas welding, we will be predominantly welding copper, aluminum, and sometimes steel. So these materials should be welded together by the application of heat. And secondarily, other than tool heat, we need something called as a filler material. So filler material is one which is used to provide extra material to the welding process. So if you have seen the practical applications of welding process, there will be actually when we are doing the welding, there will be some rod like this which will be used along with the welding process. So this rod is actually the filler material. So the filler rod, what it does is it provides excess material to the welding process. So whenever it is being welded, the excess material will be used to provide the filler rod. So other than that, you can see a stone like this being used in the welding process. So what the welder will do is, they will use a stone like this. They will rub the filler rod in the stone, and then they will be using it to weld. So this rod is actually called as a, sorry, this bar is actually called as a flux. So flux, what it does is, flux is used to inhibit oxygen from the welding zone. So imagine this is your welding zone. What the flux will do is, it will prevent oxygen from entering this particular zone. So this zone should be um, free from oxygen. So why it should be free from oxygen is that, as you know, oxygen will aid in the oxidation of the welding joint. So we have to prevent the oxidation of welding joint. So we'll be using the flux. So the basic parts needed in a welding process is that a tool, a source of heat, filler, and some inhibitor which is called as a flux. So with this brief introduction, we'll stop this lecture now and we'll continue about the gas welding in the next lecture. Thank you.